Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Has the Federal Health and Human Services adopted Alfred Kinsey's idea? We'll talk about it today on Faith and Freedom. I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, Dr. Judith Reisman is an internationally known expert on Alfred Kinsey and the effects that he has had on sexuality and the deterioration of morality, beginning here in the United States and going across the country. But she recently spoke to some people that was actually broadcast or taped by C-SPAN, and it'll be coming on C-SPAN later on. But she spoke in your class, and she brought up some information about the Federal Health and Human Services and how they're actually apparently adopting Alfred Kinsey's idea that children are sexual beings from birth. This is shocking, and it's actually part of what's on the HHS website.
Yeah, it's quite frightening, really. Alfred Kinsey, of course, was a notorious homosexual sadomasochist who, during the Kinsey reports, the Sexuality in the Human Male, Sexuality in the Human Female, published in the late 1940s, early 1950s, as part of his so-called research, he facilitated the sexual molestation of hundreds, if not thousands, of children, instructing people, pedophiles, to use stopwatches and ledgers to keep track of these molestations, child rapes we're talking about here. And he said he concluded from that children are quote, sexual from birth. Well, the liberal sexual sex education model is deeply rooted in all of Kinsey's research that basically says sexuality is values neutral and that children are sexual from birth. And in fact, the Health and Human Services on their website, in a questions and answers about sex website, said, quote, children are human beings and therefore sexual beings, which is healthy and normal. Well, that is directly in line with what this child abuser Alfred Kinsey believed, and so we shouldn't be surprised that with this comprehensive sex education, even our own Health and Human Services is pushing that ridiculous idea.
Yeah, Alfred Kinsey, you can go back to his Sexuality in the Human Male in 1948, and then Sexuality in the Human Female in 1953, and in the first book, in Table 34, he actually lists a number of different people, and he lists these molestations. So it's very obvious from his own book what he was doing, as you were saying. But in that chart alone, if you think what we're saying is shocking, just look at that. You can Google it on the Google. You can do Kinsey's Table 34. You'll find it. It'll come up, and you can find the table, and it's a chart. And in that table, he lists toddlers, little toddlers, who was part of these so-called scientific experiments where he actually, in some cases, paid pedophiles to molest these children and others as well, rapists to rape women. And that's part of his research. And his whole idea was to, I believe, destroy the very concept that there is God. And to do that was, the way he would do it is to break down the concept of marriage and morality. When you destroy marriage and morality, you ultimately destroy the very image or understanding of God. And so he wanted to bring this idea that children were sexual human beings from birth, and any kind of suppression, any kind of morals, any kind of mores that you would place in human sexuality were harmful, not helpful.
Everything you're saying, it's not a matter of belief or opinion. It's documented. Kinsey was quoted as saying that he intended to destroy the Judeo-Christian view of human sexuality. That was his primary goal. This wasn't scientific. This was socio-political. This was a cultural attempt to change the face of the culture. And in order to do that, as you point out, the Table 34 is the smoking gun. I mean, it's in the very book. It talks. We can't even describe what he says in there. It's so vile. But he even said that adult-child sex is beneficial. And so the FBI has put together what it calls a paradigm, a child molester paradigm, and they point out that basically what they don't make this assertion, but it's easy to draw the connection here that today's comprehensive sex education, as being pushed by the Health and Human Services Department, is essentially grooming children for pedophiles for sex. Listen to what the FBI says. Pedophiles will demonstrate sex acts to children. Offenders commonly use pornography to teach or give instructions to naive children about how to masturbate, perform oral sex, and or engage in sexual intercourse. This is the FBI. This is what comprehensive sex education does today. They use explicit language, graphic images.
And then you move from that. And this is an article that you actually pinned for WorldNet Daily called Obama's HHS Grooming Children for Sex. It's an article that you wrote a little while ago. We can make it available as well. You can go to libertycouncil.com, our website, as well as lc.org.
It's up there now, yeah.
And it's at libertycouncil.com right now. So you can go there. That's one of our new websites, by the way, and it has a lot of information. A lot of the material that we're talking about in these programs will be posted there. So this article is there. You can read it for yourself. Once you then lay out the FBI child molesters, sort of how child molesters groom children, then you move into the HHS. Yeah. So you say, oh, this is how they actually groom children. And then you look at, well, that's what the HHS recommends. I mean, on the website, they've got the quick guide to healthy living. This is on the Department of Health and Human Services, where Kathleen Sebelius is the secretary appointed by the president. And it's got questions and answers about sex. And that's where it talks about children are human beings and therefore sexual beings. Children.
Yeah.
Children are sexual beings.
Yeah, that's pure Kinsey, and that's
Kinsey.
Alfred Kinsey. It's completely...
And then it says, which is healthy and normal.
Yeah.
And then some of the other things we can't even probably say here on the air, but it's right
FCC,
there.
Find us.
Just go right there to libertycouncil.com. You'll see the WorldNet Daily article that Matt Barber wrote, and it has all of this information documented. You can go read it for yourself. What is shocking is Kinsey, and a lot of people don't know about Kinsey. One of the people with the recording company that was there said something to the effect that he felt like he had been hit in the gut, that he did not know this information and would have to think about these things in a different way. And, Judith Reisman is an expert on this. Yeah. Her book, Sexual Sabotage, is a book that we have that we encourage people to get. But this information is shocking to most people, but it's out there. And what's even more shocking is that our federal government is promoting it.
Well, that's right. And this was the C-SPAN crew that came to my class and filmed the class. I had two of them come up afterward. A young woman who said that she could not believe that blew her away, everything that she had heard. She didn't know any of this. And the gentleman that was there, I talked with him, he was the father of two young girls. And he said I feel like I've just been kicked in the stomach. He said, I'm going to have to change my whole way of thinking about all of this. When the information gets out there and people see what like the Health and Human Services pushing comprehensive sex education, that they are, whether it's intentional or not, they don't even realize they are grooming children by desensitizing children to sex for adult predators, even saying that children are sexual beings. This is this values-neutral, comprehensive sex education. It's dangerous, and look at the results that it has yielded over the years. Explosive teen pregnancy, children as young as 12, 13 years old getting sexually transmitted diseases. That's because of this Kinseyan sex education. He accomplished his job. He managed to fairly well wipe out the Judeo-Christian view of sexuality, the pre-Kinsey view. Now we're in the post-Kinsey era, and it's not pretty.
And our federal government, with our elected leaders, are using your tax dollars to fund this kind of filth. It's up on the HHS website today. It's there. You can see it for yourself. And these federal tax dollars with these elected officials are being used to fund this kind of filth and debauchery within the public schools around the country under this guise of sex education, comprehensive sex education. Elections do matter, and that's why I think it's important to vote biblical values of life, that the sanctity of human life is protected from the moment of conception, marriage as the union of one man and one woman, and families, strong families. This kind of thing tears down families. We need to not reconstruct and deconstruct families. We need to strengthen them. We need not to redefine marriage as between two people of the same sex, but to strengthen the family itself. Because as the family is strong, the rest of our communities are strong. Go to Liberty Council's website. And I urge you to look at our voter guides on the lc.org website. You can also order this book as well. It's called Sexual Sabotage by Dr. Judith Reisman. She is an expert, and we will be coming out with another book of Dr. Reisman's pretty soon. This one was published recently by WorldNet Daily. It is a very powerful book. We've got it available for you as well. Sexual Sabotage by Dr. Judith Reisman. Also, take a look at this article, libertycounsel.com. Visit libertycounsel.com and pray for this ministry and financially support Liberty Counsel as we defend family and freedom.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.